Hey everybody, before we get started with our episode today, we want to send out a trigger warning. Today's episode will be talking about the Monterey Park shooting, and we'll leave the time code down below in the description to where you can jump to after we finish talking about this topic. Thank you and enjoy the show.
Hit play. I mean, of course.
It's not doing it yet. Okay, ready? Here we go.
I don't believe you.
I know we haven't done this in a minute, and I know that I was like checking everything and double checking everything before we started. I know it was like being a pain in your ass, but I was like, I got it.
Yeah.
And I checked it. I didn't press record.
Tell the people how much we just recorded.
Let me show you my shame. We recorded about 15 minutes of this podcast, but we didn't record 15 minutes of this podcast.
Yes, and it was so good.
It was really, really good. We talked about the Ziggy back here. We have a golden Ziggy. We talked about you.
Well, we're going to do it again. This
Hi.
is the golden Ziggy.
This is the golden Ziggy. This is the bronze Ziggy. This is what Ziggy will be in the future because we won't live without her. Nikki,
Where are we? What are we doing?
Nikki doesn't like talking about Ziggy in the future. Hi. Welcome to Rhythm and Booze. I'm Mikey.
And I'm Nikki.
And I forgot how to do this shit. And
Again.
I'm figuring it out all over again.
It's literally the same thing every single time. You could do a compilation of all the times you're
fucked up.
I forget how to do this.
And now we're okay. So this is a podcast where we talk about dance stuff and burlesque stuff and basically anything else we're going to talk about. It's mostly turned into just us talking toward each other, at each other, with each other.
Yeah, it's the same thing we do all the time, but just extra.
And on the opposite side, because usually I'm on that side.
And I was going to say with a drink, but...
No, we're pretty much always.
Not always, but, you know.
We have been better.
We enjoy a drink.
We have been better lately.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
we've been so busy.
Yeah.
The last time we did this, we were talking about how busy we're going to be up until basically now, which is really almost self-prophesizing.
Yeah, that is really funny,
yeah. But we're going to catch up in just a little bit. What are we drinking?
What are we drinking?
This
a nice little rosé.
This is the Pale Rosé by Sasha Lishny.
Lachine. With a nice little bottle.
It's a beautiful bottle, actually.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people in like the 1920s. It's like a Gatsby type thing.
Yeah.
Everything's a Gatsby type thing.
And we're all pink. Our new pink glasses for our new pink bar.
We're wearing pink. We got pink on the napkins.
Yeah.
It's a pink kind of show. Because mostly it's Barbie.
It's Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
I shut.
So this is the name of the episode. The Barbie and the Chef. No, the Barbie and the Bear.
The Barbie and the bear. Close.
Close enough. I got it right the last time, guys. You should have been there.
Yeah, it was really good.
So recently we started watching The Bear.
Yes.
And that shit is the craziest stuff I've ever seen on television. For the simple reason that whatever that is happening on screen, you feel it. Like
It's
in
intense.
your bones, yeah.
Yeah.
We watched that first episode and I don't think we moved for those 20 minutes. Because it was just it just started and it kept going, it didn't stop.
And one of us always falls asleep watching the show, and that did not happen. We're both so on edge. Like, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen? And then the episode end, we'd have to like take a lap and shake it off.
Yeah, we did. That first episode, we were like, I'm like, we're not tired. You're tired? No, I was like, I gotta get up and like
It's that
run around.
phone ringing in the background.
Oh yeah.
It's like constant background noise. It's so stressful.
Whoever is doing the sound design for that show deserves all the Emmys and whatever, and everything, because there's always a phone ring in the background. And if you've ever worked in an office or worked in a place where it's constantly being called, like, holy shit, that is already like an anxiety-ridden thing. Like, I feel that in the ballroom, and I know it's not my job to answer the phone, but I always want to like reach for it. Oh man! But we watched that 3 episodes in a row because we couldn't stop.
There was one episode where I don't remember what they were making, but Mikey like sat forward and his jaw dropped open and he was like staring intently at the TV, and I looked over and I just started cracking up.
Tell him what I was doing that made you kind of notice. I was rubbing her feet.
Oh yeah.
Which is a usual occurrence. She's like, baby, can you rub my feet?
Oh, her heels a lot.
Yeah, and I was like, of course. I'll sit up and I'll start rubbing her feet and like usually like watch the whole episode and keep rubbing her feet. But in that episode, Carmi was just like making something so good, and there was no dialogue. It was just him cooking.
Yeah.
And it's like ASMR, like chopping, sizzling, and everything. And I was just like, I was rubbing, and I was like leaning forward, and I stopped, and I felt myself stop, and I felt myself lean forward into it. And I was like, that was so amazing. I love cooking shows. I love Food Network. I love watching all that stuff. Damn it, I love that shit. And I was just like so in love with like whatever he was doing. I was like, I gotta learn something. And she's cracking her shit up over here.
It was so funny.
Like, babe, you okay? I'm hungry.
It was great. No, we loved that show, and it kind of came out of nowhere, and suddenly people were talking about it.
Yeah, I remember Andrea was the first person I heard talk about it in like person.
Andrea Gordon. She's been on the podcast.
It was kind of in passing. And she was just like, I think she was leaving at one of our parties, and she says, like, yeah, I gotta go like hurt myself by watching the bear now. I was like, oh, what does that mean? Saw a couple episodes or clips on TikTok. Damn, we gotta watch a show.
Yeah. And
you didn't really have an idea of it, right? Kind of.
No,
like
not really. My mom had mentioned it, and I hadn't heard of it, and then all of a sudden it was, it's seeing the ads everywhere and whatnot. So, yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth a watch if you haven't seen it. It's probably one of the best shows I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I think it's like top 5 for me right now.
I know Carmi won, the actor who plays Carmen won a award for it. I forget which one, maybe a Golden Globe, but definitely that was like worth it. That guy, yeah, seriously. There's so much things that happen, and I'm gonna talk about a spoiler thing because it's the thing everyone talks about in season 2. Wait, I'm gonna give you spoilers. Go away. Okay, good. You can hit the 15-second ad.
Yeah.
The Christmas episode of season 2, oh my god. You know me, every time, like, it started and we had no idea.
Yeah.
It started and you were like, babe, Christmas episode. I was like, yes.
Because I hate Christmas episodes, and he loves them.
I love the music, I love watching the food, I love people like all the weird things, twists and turns, and then everyone sings at the end.
Yeah.
This one was not that.
No.
This one was definitely
trauma.
It was trauma over and over again. And then not only that, like all the people that were part of his family are all like amazing stars that you would never ever think to be on a show like this.
Right.
But it makes sense when it comes down to it. Like Jamie Lee Curtis and Bob Odenkirk and Sarah Paulson and the comedian we really like. Brett sounds like him and acts like him pretty much.
Oh, John Mulaney.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Shout out to Brett Dallenberg. We all know you're secretly John Mulaney. But I think there was just so much that happened. Every one of the episodes, which is of Bear, is like extended 20-30 minutes instead of like an hour-long thing, which is brilliant because they just fit in so much in those 20-30 minutes. But that episode was an hour long, and it was an hour long of like straight up living in this family for one night. Holy shit. Anything you guys deal with out there with your family or what we deal with in general? Nothing compared to that. That was intense. I definitely had I feel like I had to get up and run around after that one.
Yeah, for sure. I think we definitely did that a couple times. But we shook it off.
We shook it off with what?
Barbie.
That's
it. Obviously, we have a pink theme happening here. With pink bar.
It's over there. We'll get a little tour later.
We'll do a tour, but it's our new pink bar glasses and pink everything.
Yeah, it made sense.
Yes.
It made sense.
Where it's that Barbie core. It's the whole trend right now.
Oh, Barbie core.
It's called Barbie core. Yeah.
I get it now. I was like, Barbie core? Like abs? No, Barbie core.
Yeah.
Good times.
No, but we had a great time. We dressed up, obviously. We're super cute. Went and saw the movie and just loved it from start to finish. For me, it was very much nostalgia and, I had that and I had that and I had that because I did. I had it all. And it was really fun to see it as an adult on the other side.
It was hilarious to watch Claire, my sister-in-law, and our friend Beth, the three of you kind of going back and forth, especially that first 15 minutes of the movie where it's just all these little Easter eggs and also Midge.
Yeah. And Alan.
Oh, that's the best. Anything Ken can wear, Alan can wear too.
Yeah. No, it was just so good, and I love that it made fun of itself in every way. And
I cannot believe
self-aware
Mattel was like, yeah, go for it. Make fun of us for that. Yeah, make fun of us for that.
I'm curious how that conversation actually went. I actually saw a couple different interviews, and look up on TikTok. There's tons of interviews with people that made this movie, but one of them was with Will Ferrell, and they asked him to do the movie, and he's like, "You guys haven't gotten this signed off yet. There's no way they're gonna let you make this movie." And they're like, "No, actually, we got the green light." Yeah. And he's like, "Oh, I'm in."
I think it's like purposeful, right? Like Mattel has made a lot of like cartoons for kids and everything, and they've been always geared toward kids, obviously as a toy company, but like something like Barbie is like iconic and Americana, and there's a culture behind it and with it that grew up with it, and it makes sense for people like yourself, people like your mom, who like love this to death, and they waited until the right moment. Like this was the right moment. And I thought about it when we walked in. I was like, "Oh, we're just going to do another Barbie movie," and I was like, "There's no other Barbie movie. What am I thinking of?" Like, but it's been around for so long.
Well, there are, but they're like the kids ones.
Right, not this one.
This was not a kids movie. I mean, my kids loved it. They had a great time, but it's not a kids movie. It's geared towards me. You know, those of us that grew up with this our entire lives. And I mean, I'm not going to say this didn't shape the way that I am.
It's very true.
I do think that I have a certain type of silhouette that I look for in heels sometimes that like is very much a Barbie.
Oh, you guys should have seen her when she saw the trailer and like Margot Robbie comes out of the shoes and still stepping in that heel. She was like, "How did that happen?"
I know, I practiced it. I can do it too.
I think that the feeling of it is what gets me, is because like it's infectious. Like it's just watching that movie is like watching like a history of the people of America, of women, of that doll by itself. Like it makes sense in the way they tell that story. Like all three of those kind of stories all at once. It makes so much sense. It was I was blown away.
Yeah, it's definitely worth a watch. Now we have to go see the other one. What is it? Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
And then go back to Barbie.
Yeah, seriously.
Shake it off.
Go into Barbie and like get out of this world and go into a fantasy world, and then come back to Oppenheimer and the bear, which is real. Yeah. This is the real world.
Right.
Where we crash our cars into Christmas.
It's pretty incredible to see how people are taking to this Barbie movie. Like I have a couple of burlesque friends that I saw I've shared on social media, that I have one person that shared they've gone to it 10 times since it came out. 10 times. Like it must be some kind of record, right? Like they just love it so much, and it's so all about the world that they're creating.
I wonder if that's like a thing where it's like I found a friend and they didn't see it, so I'm gonna take them, and I found another friend, I'm gonna take them.
Yeah, and they all want to have the same experience, you know, for everybody. So it's like we've said, if you're gonna go see it while it's still really busy. Take a group of friends, dress up, wear pink. So it's part of the fun. Yeah,
that was another part of it too. That like as soon as you walk towards the theater, you see everybody dressing in very nice clothes. Like people didn't do that since like the 60s to go to the movies, and it was very, very cool because everyone was complimenting each other on that. And so like you guys took a bunch of pictures with random people, and other people were just enjoying it. Everyone was giving compliments like crazy. And that theater was electric. It was definitely like watching a Marvel movie. Yeah. It's like a bunch of nerds in one theater loving on one thing on the screen.
It was my Marvel.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's not spoilers, but there's a part early on in the movie where it's like an opening and everybody's like, "Hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie, hi Barbie," the hand. And it was like that at the movie theater.
It totally was. Before the movie.
Yeah, before any of us had seen it, that was already happening, and I think that was kind of magical. That was so cool.
Yeah, so definitely go see that, and then definitely come back to reality by watching The Bear.
Or listen to this.
You can listen to this.
I guess they are already, if they've
stuck
heard
with
that.
us.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, I was cheersing the general public. It's so fun to be doing this again. We had good intentions to do this every 2 weeks, and it just didn't happen. And we started out, we were on a roll, we had big plans. We were planning to do this awesome interview while we were in New Orleans for the New Orleans Burlesque Festival.
Back in January.
In January.
6 months
It's
ago.
what, July?
Yeah.
Back in January, we were going to meet up with Amy Johnson and talk about her amazing legacy that she's left on the Lindy Hop world.
And unfortunately, like a number of things actually happened that weekend where we were just like, the fates and the universe was telling us something. First off, we forgot all of our equipment.
Yeah,
and by we, I mean me.
Do that, right.
But we were still going to find a way to do it, and we had found a way. But something had happened while we were in New Orleans.
Yes. So we were at a brunch show that was part of the event. It was called the Queen's Brunch. And it was a really, really amazing show with people from all over the country performing. And I had checked my phone. I was kind of further away from the stage area, so I was skimming my phone. It was pretty early in the day. They'd just gotten up. And I saw that there was a shooting. And I saw right away that it was a dance studio. And immediately the name sounded familiar. And of course, my heart dropped. And I started searching for information, and I found that it was the Star Ballroom. And I kind of elbowed Mikey and told him what was going on.
And that's when I heard her voice, and I immediately looked at my phone as well. Just like everybody, unfortunately, that happens here, we start looking for information. The first things that we had learned were active shooter, or there was a shooting at a ballroom. And that instantly brought us to our own ballroom, Atomic Ballroom, and immediately got worried and started texting people and trying to find more information because it's what's happening in the Los Angeles area. And at that time, we didn't know, but the shooting had actually happened earlier from that morning. So it was the Saturday, the 21st, and we were already on Sunday, the 22nd.
Yeah, I remember just checking my phone and then trying not to look at my phone, being like, okay, this is happening, but I'm in the show. I can't do anything right now.
Yeah.
And then I was shaking and then shaking more and shaking more. And it got to the point where I couldn't control my shaking and I had to leave.
Yeah, we had to
grab my
leave.
Stuff and I ran out of the venue and Mikey followed me out.
About halfway through the performances that morning. But it was the right thing to do. We couldn't focus on the show and the performers and the artists doing their best. So we exited the building and we started to immediately call people up and try to get more information. Watching CNN, we went back to our room where we could start watching CNN and local channels and Twitter and everything. And we had found that that shooting had happened earlier that night, and that the person was still at large.
Yeah. So for me, my thought was this person is on the loose, and who knows? Maybe this is what they're doing. Maybe they're going around to other dance studios, and I was definitely feeling like I was in a panic mode. And I called Shaysha, co-studio owner, and we talked about what to do, and both of us felt it was the right thing to close for the evening, just out of an abundance of caution and out of respect and for so many reasons. And we actually had an event happening at the studio at that moment. It was a Bobby Mickey's dance party. And Shaysha went and made sure he was at the studio just to talk to people or just to be there for anybody who needed it. But when we went back to our room, we were reaching out to people that we knew from our studio who also taught out of the Star Ballroom, which is where where the shooting took place. And communicating with our teachers that it was just such a crazy whirlwind moment, because it was like, oh no, we need to still, be there for our dance family. Let's not cancel things. Let's make sure people have somewhere to go, to like tumbling into, oh no, we can't do that. Hold on, we're finding names, to like everything just snowballed. We started learning that the people that we are connected to lost people in that shooting, and then this person is still at large. And it was just such a crazy, when I think back to that time, I just remember feeling like out of control, because we were in New Orleans. We were too far away to do anything. and just feeling like so incredibly helpless.
And that is to a T one of our like worst nightmares, to be far away from some sort of thing that's happening and we have no control over it.
Yeah.
Which is usually a great thing if it's any other day, but in this case right here, it was just not the right timing, and we were at an event where we were having fun, and so everything just flips on a dime, and all this information we were flooded with is just like making a spiral, or as you said, like a snowball into more guilt, and what do we do, and do we close things down? And honestly, like, it was just so hard for me to watch everything happening, plus watch you, plus not know what to do, where it was just like, we have to close because this is the right thing to do. There's too much misinformation. There's too much crazy information going out there. The right thing to do was cancel everything that we're having at the ballroom.
Well, it wasn't even for those reasons. It was that we were 1 degree away.
Right.
We knew people that were at that studio that morning, and this thing that happened was literally my worst nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And to know that we were that close, and then, you know, we have, I don't want to name names, I don't know if I should, but the teachers that taught there that also work for us,
yeah.
Calling us and telling us who had passed away that they knew at the studio, and it was, I've never experienced anything like that. I felt myself like in this state of like, maybe it's shock.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the only way I can describe it. I don't think I've ever felt anything like this before, but I was shaking uncontrollably. And I got to a point where I'm like, Mikey, I just need to call my mom.
Yeah.
I need to call my parents. And I did. And I just called my parents, and I just cried and cried. I didn't know what else to do. It's such a helpless feeling to feel like our community was hurt. And there's nothing we could do about it.
I think everything we were hearing, the information that was coming out of Monterey Park and Alhambra at the time was a lot of hearsay at the time, and a couple of truths, and all of it sounded plausible to us. I'm not going to speak too much on it, but unfortunately we do live in the United States, and where this kind of act that should be not happening is happening quite often. And it's not that we're numb to it, but we start to be more vigilant. And I think when we started hearing the two factors of this was at a ballroom, and then the second one being it was another ballroom, that got us completely, for lack of a better term, freaked out. Completely did not know what to do. Like, is this person again spiraling? Like, is this person going after us? Is this person going after ballrooms? And to be completely honest, from my point of view, I was like, what? I'm just gonna speak from my heart, unfortunately, and it's not gonna sound great, but what kind of creepy motherfucker thought they were amazing dancers and were turned down or some bullshit like that, and just started doing this crazy shit? Like, that's what started going through my head, and that's why I was like, we can't. I mean, in all honesty, like, I know I probably freaked out, you probably freaked out, we probably freaked out by canceling everything, but it was the right thing to do because of the people we knew that knew the people that were there, and they couldn't even be there for their own reasons. So we just, the best thing to do is just to close down and just like everybody just be vigilant and be on the lookout.
It was really strange because suddenly I was getting phone calls from
ABC
news outlets like Good Morning America
yeah.
called me, and I'm like, I'm not comfortable talking. I don't want to talk about this. Like, this is our direct community that's being affected by this, and I don't have the words for this. I don't want to speak about how I feel. I don't want to speak on behalf of people that were there or could have been there. And man, just to feel like, I can't imagine what people that were there were dealing with, and we're separated enough that it wasn't like directly affecting us, but it was affecting us, and it was affecting our tight-knit community. And, I instantly, as the victims' names started coming out, I instantly started looking for if those names were in our system, because when you go to one studio, you go to another studio, like we all travel around and dance at various places. I know I went to that studio to take tango workshop in the past, and so it's just, it makes it so close to home. And I think both of us immediately were like, okay, what do? We need to get home and we need to prepare to the best of our ability. And we started searching for resources for our staff and really anybody who was interested in joining us. But it was awesome. The city of Irvine, the Irvine PD, has a program where they come out and they do like what do they call it? An active threat training. And our staff got together and Officer Rick came out and he gave us this really amazing training. And of course, you know, we can only prepare so much, but that little bit of extra, not necessarily peace of mind, but just, you know,
knowledge of what you could do.
What is possible to do in that situation, because obviously, you know, who knows? Who really knows?
Exactly. And it was a surreal moment because we had to deal with something that is close to us, but we never thought would be that close. That is like the perfect MO for like being surprised like that. And because we deal with so many different customers and so many different types of people every day, it just made sense to have our staff be at least a little bit more knowledgeable, and if for anything, for you, Shaish, and me to understand it as well. And we were really great to know, and I'm just going to give a couple of notes from what we learned from that the active threat lecture. Training. Thank you. And I think some of the things was having someone at the front desk is always a good thing, that you can see things that are out of the ordinary. So if something looks like doesn't make any sense, then you should definitely say something. You should definitely activate anything that is ready to stop something like that from happening. Saying hello at the front desk, just stopping the person at the front desk just to make sure that you talk to them can be a deterrent. Everything can be a deterrent, and it was really nice to know that a lot of the things that we were doing already at the ballroom were good things to stop anything negative happening like that.
I don't want to paraphrase or say things wrong or give instruction on what to do, but the best piece of advice I could give, if you have a studio, if you even if you have a retail store or whatever your small business is, doesn't even have to be dancing. Or if you run a weekly swing dance or whatever it is that you do, a burlesque show even, look to your local city and go to the police station and just see what kind of programs they have. This was a free program.
Yeah.
This officer came out and spent a lot of time with us and gave us a lot of really, really good information. Took us through an entire case study of another event that happened. And it's unfortunate that we have to look to these things, but it's also pretty awesome that these resources are there for us.
Yeah.
And they're pretty readily available. So if you're in the Irvine area, look up Officer Rick. He's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was really, truly amazing for sure.
But just wherever you are, I think that is an amazing resource, and take advantage of it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that we came back from New Orleans and we were like immediately like, forget the podcast, there's more important things to do. And we immediately went into like, not even crisis management, just management, like what can we do? What extra things? And we implemented them. And I really admire the amount of things that you did, the things you started to look up and understand, and the people you talked to about it, like getting Officer Rick out there, like just little things like that, not only helped you out with how you were feeling about the situation, that I feel like from my point of view, but it also helped me out. It also helped out our staff. I truly believe that. And I say this a lot to ourselves in passing and everything, but I would say like you're an amazing boss. Like you lead by example, but also on top of that, like you lead by your gut, and your gut has never failed you. And in this case right here, it was like one of the best things. How would we have known this resource like Officer Rick was there? Like unless you reached out, and that is one of your best qualities for sure, is that your ability to just kind of like follow what you know is right, and then other people follow that as well.
Thanks.
But it was really hard to come back, and we were like, we got to talk about it, and we were ready for it.
I feel like it definitely stunted us because we felt like we couldn't move on. We couldn't just do another episode of the podcast and not address why we just suddenly stopped doing it and why we didn't do the things we said we were going to do, because we did have very good intentions of we had a plan. We were so excited about it, and I just in like good faith for myself, like I didn't have the heart to really get into it.
Yeah.
I think it made sense.
Yeah, it made sense for sure. So with that, we'll end that part of the topic of this part of the show, and we left the time code down below. So we'll start the next topic of the show, which is ILHC.
Yeah. So,
and
I mean, it's been it was a crazy whirlwind from January until now, and just in that span of time, the amount of events that we did are just crazy.
Just go back to the last episode.
Listen to all the stuff we said we were going to do. Yeah. We did all of that and way more.
Way more.
And then, all the normal work stuff on top of that. But then,
and home life.
Right after Viva Las Vegas, we had some time.
A little bit of time, about a month.
And then we went to ILHC.
Yes.
In New York.
In Harlem, back in New York. And that was
the Alhambra Ballroom.
That was such an amazing thing because that was our first big event since coming out of COVID.
Yeah, well, Camp Hollywood.
Camp Hollywood, yeah, that's true. I think I always feel like Camp Hollywood is just a different category for me because I'm always like, that's my hometown event.
Yeah.
Like, that's okay. Not to diminish it at all. It's just like that's the tried and true. That's your local bar. And ILHC is definitely just like something that I've only missed one, and that one I missed was last year when they did like the ILHC lights and they tested everybody and did all that whole thing. And I was always sad to miss it, but definitely it felt really good to be back at ILHC while ILHC was in New York and in Harlem, and especially the Alhambra Ballroom.
It's hard to say, I know, I stumbled on it too. Alhambra Ballroom.
Which is great for so many reasons, but if you read Frankie's book, that's the place where he would go dancing as a kid.
Where you learned to dance.
Yeah. And it was really, I'd never stepped in there before. I'd seen many video clips. There's this awesome video clip of like a Savoy reunion or a Savoy like celebration, and the Silver Shadows were there. They still are some of the most amazing dancers in the world right now, and they did an awesome performance for all of the legends of the dance and the kind of originators of the dance while they were all sitting there having a great time watching them.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. We had a really privileged place to see everything. We were judges this year, and we didn't compete. We didn't do any performing, none of that stuff. We just judged.
Yeah, I think I did like 13 or 14 contests, and you did like one less.
Just shy of that, yeah. What an amazing way to take in that event! Like literally sitting there watching the best dancers in the world throw down.
The front row seat.
Yeah.
To everything. It's if you've gone to any events before, like there's that little space where you can stand behind the judges or like next to them or sit right next to them. It's really good, but there's something different about sitting down directly in front of dancers that are just like trying everything they can to impress you, but not only that, to like defy the rules of gravity. Like it's just like it's amazing and like and push the limits of what we think this dance can do, and this ILHC was no different because everybody who came out there went and tried something so hard and so difficult for themselves, and I applaud everyone who went out on that floor. Like there was not one time where I was just like, ooh. I mean, definitely there was other times where I was like, that didn't work out, but that doesn't diminish the idea. I was so judgy. But that didn't diminish the idea that I'm so proud of a person to go out there and hit that floor and try their best,
There was some special magic about being in that ballroom. There was a nice, cozy atmosphere. And I think in all the past ILHCs, they were great. I always had a great time, but they're so vast and everything's so spaced out. And usually everybody's pretty stressful. There's that air of stress. But even though it was competition, that something about like the coziness of the venue, I felt like the stress was a little bit alleviated at the event. And it was really fun.
It was really cool. Like it reminded us of when we used to do Inspiration Weekend in Fullerton.
Yeah.
Where it was like this older ballroom, but it was like a cozy atmosphere. You didn't have to leave the venue. Everything was right there. Even the feeling of going upstairs to the ballroom. Mm-hmm. Like that was really cool. Like it felt like a different version of ILHC, but still had the feeling and the roots of it. And for me, it's not that they went back, because that big venue they had before, the hotel, big and vast and big bright lights and all this huge ass floor is cool for sure. But like kind of I don't know, like it's like an evolution. It's like that worked, but now this new chapter is starting, and a new book is starting, and I'm like, oh my God, I love this. I love this so much. I often think this a lot with events, even with ours, Inspiration Weekend. I'm always like, I feel like they should have a natural ending. I feel like they should start and then they should have a natural ending, and then they don't just go away and fade away. It's like a book. It's like a good movie. It's like a good series. Like it has a beginning and it really feels good. It has a time and it goes through this whole thing and has a really solid ending. Like I really feel that for a lot of events, and don't get me wrong. If events keep going and they keep going and they keep going and they keep going, good for you. Good job. Why not? This is just my personal feeling, and I'm really glad to have seen Inspiration Weekend go from the beginning to an end. And I love that, because that's an end of that thing, but then a beginning of something else, because you're freeing up that time. You're freeing up the mental capacity and the emotional feelings of everything to start something new, a new project. Like, I don't want it to be the end of what you're doing. I want it to be the end of like that thing and then going on to this.
Yeah. Well, there's the assumption that just because an event happens once, it has to happen every year.
Right.
And so I think sometimes that happens is that you keep doing an event because it's the thing everybody expects, but it's not always the thing that's needed at the time. And that's okay to let, things run their course and then start something new. But I felt like this anew for ILHC was exactly what it needed, or what I needed from ILHC in that moment was that. Like I was very, very happy with that setup. And it wasn't just the venue. For me, it was, again, the first big event outside of LA that we've been to, and just having the conversations that we had with people
mostly the entire weekend. Mostly the same topic.
Was it?
Yeah. Because there was like, come up to us being like, I am so happy for
you. Oh, yes.
You guys are so
came up a lot,
happy.
Yeah.
But I sorry, that was a side joke. But also that did come up a lot. And I think it's also the idea that, like, even though we were far apart for so long, I have everybody in the community, and we were such a integral part in like the bigger scene, and then now we're like here and we're centralized and we're good, but I think so people still watch and so people see. Social media is like,
it's funny.
The best thing about it is that you can still keep up with your friends and keep up with people you want to keep up with.
Yeah.
And we don't make it any secret, and we put ourselves out there, and it was nice. It was nice to be in the first big event open as a couple.
I know. It was really cute.
We were really cute. We were really, really cute.
It was so cute.
It was really cute. Actually, there was a picture that came out today that Jerry posted of us there. I was dancing there.
Mm-hmm. I think we spent a lot of time reconnecting with people, but we also spent a lot of time talking about what we value in Lindy Hop.
Us two, me and you.
As individuals, not like what the scene values, but what like I value as a dancer and what Mikey values as a dancer. And when you're in a position to judge and you're comparing apples to oranges, like everybody is so completely different from each other all the time. And of course there's similarities while doing the same dance, but the way everybody expresses the dance. And now you're like, okay, well, this person's amazing and this person's amazing. How do I compare these two people together? And it was really fun to be in a position to explore all of that again with literally the best dancers.
Oh yeah, totally. And by explore that as well, like we were just like, every time we would judge, every time we would judge, we would end up talking about it. Whether I was judging or you were judging, we were both judging. We would talk about it afterwards, after we turned in our score sheets, or like if there was like afternoon contests, we'd be like done with that and go to dinner, and all we would talk about, and this and that and this and that, and in so many different ways we disagreed, but in so many different ways we agreed. And it's so interesting to both of us to hear unabashedly how we think of a subject.
Yeah.
You know, like, or how we thought of a routine, or how we thought of like individual dancers, and what that means to us. And it's so eye-opening to have that, because that's kind of what you want in a good partnership. You want to be able to trust the other person, even while we have these like crazy ideas or like a fleeting moment of I felt like this, so I did like this, you know? And as a judge, I wish I can be the same all the time. And we found that we usually are, we value those things, but sometimes you just shoot off and you're like, I like this though, like that time. Yeah. But that was so good. Like, how can I not celebrate that and reward that? And so I think it's really cool that in our partnership, it's evolved to the point where we can verbally say to each other, as opposed to like a dance thing where you non-verbally say it to each other, where we can do that as well, trust each other and see the best, and like try to understand it, like where you're coming from, and not only that, like question it. We question each other a lot. Yeah. And that was really, really cool. And I'm sure everybody else had conversations like this too, but I think for us, it's like we've seen a lot of shit go through the scene, and we've seen
and come back around again.
Come back around again, and like we've been through a lot of different versions of ourselves, and it gets us thinking, because remember that time we used to do the thing like that, and they did the thing like that, and now we're here and they're there. Like, that's so weird.
One of my favorite things, and we talked about this a lot even before ILHC, one of my favorite things at ILHC this year was that not everybody was trying to look like a swing dancer, like a vintage swing dancer. You know, like I feel like I was so happy to see so much modern fashion at ILHC this year. I mean, there were some definite trends that were happening.
There were definitely the cholo.
Yeah.
Where they just like, the top button up like this. I think some people were just missing the shades and like the low bandana right here. And it would have been, he's lost.
But I just love that like people were wearing tennis shoes. Not everybody was trying to wear heels. Like that was a thing for a while. And I think I just love that it's not like, let's look like we're from the 1940s anymore. And of course I love that. And I am a huge fan of vintage, and I have nothing against people that love vintage and dress vintage, but I feel like it was like a breath of fresh air.
It really was.
Because people were so young and so vibrant with everything, the way they did their hair, the way they dressed themselves, the way they moved. Like, it was a really unique take for me.
I feel like coming out of COVID, I felt like watching on social media a lot of different events coming back, especially ILHC last year when they were in that like hotel that looked like a club, and it was so awesome to watch everybody in their fashion. Like, of course they're dancing for sure, but I'm like, I'm a judgy motherfucker, and I'm like, what are they wearing? And like, I'm loving it so much. I remember there was, and I'm not gonna name names, but there was a contest that was happening somewhere in the world, and I'm gonna say that like they had us judge also on a criteria of what they're wearing, and I wholeheartedly disagreed, and I went up to the organizer and I was like, I'm not gonna do that. And if that's not okay with you, then I'll just bow out and I won't judge. And they're like, okay, but you'll judge everything else, but you'll do like the other things after that. I was like, yeah, okay, cool. So I judged the whole weekend knowing that. And then there was, in that same event, there was I think it was like a solo jazz, like duo group like that. It was like maybe two guys, and they were just like in white shirts and like some khakis and some tennis shoes. And, you know, like, whatever they were wearing in their hair wasn't like completely like well done. It was just matchy, and it looked modern and it looked fine. You know, it didn't look like anything crazy. It didn't help them. It didn't hurt them. It just was. And I was like, cool. And I remember the other judges around me being like, do you see what they're wearing? Jesus, what are they wearing? Oh my God. Like all this stuff, like back and forth. And I was like, fucking assholes. Like, just like hated them. And I won't say names, but they were French. So you could just take it from there. But the biggest takeaway for me is like, that was a point where I started like following less of the trends of what was going on, being like, are you happy in what you're doing as in dancing? Then wear whatever the fuck you want. And I think now we're finally being like, that's who we are. That's how we keep the dance alive, is by living now as well. Like carrying the baggage of the past, carrying the baggage of a generation's lost fucking times, but being joyous through it and punching through everything else with his dance. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. I thought it was really inspiring. It was really fun to see all the European fashions and fashions in dance too, the way that people moved and the influence that was happening. Starting to see that European influence more here. It was just a really fun place to be. It was a really great introduction back to being part of the bigger, greater scene.
You know what was really cool? Sorry, again about fashion. So, you know what's really cool?
What?
Sorry, now that I think about it even more, it's like you said European fashion, I'm like, yeah, but also like 90s fashion, which is like the major overarching thing of this kind of last couple, let's say 2 or 3 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like major 90s vibes. And usually the Lindy Hop scene, swing dance scene, doesn't really pick up on the trends of the rest of the world. But this time they have. And I was like, I'm all for it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Microfiber pants with some like long, oversized button downs. I'm in. Let's do it.
Yeah, it's pretty great.
Yeah. We're some whores for fashion.
But it was fun to go to ILHC and then straight from ILHC pretty much to the ILHC of Burlesque, which is the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend.
In Las Vegas.
Of course.
But
to go from being a judge to being just a spectator, and a lot of really crazy, awesome things happened this year at the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend. First off, we won the bowling tournament.
Oh yeah, we won the bowling tournament. What's up there? We got it. We'll show it. We'll show it for the video people. We're showing it now. We're showing it here. Look at the horns. Look at it's shiny, and then we got the bowling one. We also won the other one too. What was it?
Best ball handling.
Best ball handling. That's right. You could think of that one.
But we actually did have the highest bowling scores.
No, we didn't.
Yes, we did.
We don't, because we would have won. We would have won that one.
We did. We won the whole tournament. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. Oh well, there was. I thought the individual. I almost did.
Oh, the individual
I almost
scores.
did.
No,
the
but
guy
we
beat me
won
like by 15 points.
We won the overall team score.
Yeah.
Yes, we actually won it. We won it.
Yeah, we won it. I forget. I forgot. I was like, maybe we just won because we were awesome.
But so every team, it's a tradition. It's called Bearcats Bowling, and that back in the day, back in like the 50s or the 60s, they started this tradition, and it was a bunch of burlesquers, and they had a bowling team, and now they do that at the Burlesque Hall of Fame, and everybody picks a theme for their team, and you have to bribe the judges, and it's just silly and crazy, and we cool. Dance and then roll the ball, and also
if you guys have ever been to Vegas or not, like there's some hotel resorts out there that like you don't have to leave, like, and it's usually because they have like big conventions, or they cater also to the locals. And in this one in particular, and a couple of them outside of the strip, this one had a bowling alley, and the bowling alley is like 50 lanes deep. It's huge. It's not just a couple little lanes, right? And so the Beehoff like takes over the last 10 lanes, way on the other side of the whole thing.
And they put up a curtain.
They put up a curtain
so you can't see in.
Because burly people get cray, and they start doing some things like those llamas. Those llamas did some things.
Yeah.
Some spinning things. And it was just so much fun. Everyone's having fun. Everyone's having fun because they come in dressed up. They come in ready to bowl. They come in to fuck with each other. They come in to like take pictures and have fun. The judges are all judging off of like random shit.
Random stuff.
Like I think a couple years ago you won Best Side Boob.
I did. Yeah,
Very
that's my biggest title for the Burlesque Hall of Fame weekend.
Now this one.
Now, bowling champion.
But I think with Burlesque Hall of Fame as well, like just like we talked about ILHC, it evolves and it moved forward, and it was just so amazing. Like you said, spectator, but I'm just like taking like another step further, like especially this year for both of us, because of our relationship and because of what we do with Muse, and because of how amazing you are out there, and just being yourself in the burlesque community in LA, Orange County. We just felt a part of that community, and I was like, spectator, but like community members, like we were part of this cool ass club that everyone's open to for sure. But like, man, we felt it this year for sure. Also, it helped because it was your birthday.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
No, that was Viva.
That's right. It. That's right. Never mind.
No, that was Viva.
Every Vegas.
It was all the same people.
Same people, same hotel.
That's why
same
it's
Vegas.
confusing.
Sorry, it wasn't that. But regardless, like I've been drinking. Regardless, it was also really great to be a part of that community and like feel that.
Well, not only that, we witnessed history. This was the first BHOF where they took away the Mrs. They took away the queen category, and it was more inclusive and non-binary. And we had our first queen Samsonite, our cis male queen of burlesque, which is historical and crazy awesome. And we had non-binary winners and trans winners, and I think it's a huge step forward for the burlesque community. And I think this historical thing is going to change things all over the world. So who knows if it'll be this exact thing next year, but it's probably going to cascade everywhere around us and just create more inclusivity for everything everywhere. In the burlesque scene or not, I think it's just like a stepping stone.
Yeah. It goes along the same lines for me. It's like the idea of a tradition is really fun. It's really great. It's really cool. But then like moving forward with it, you know, moving, what else can we do? Now that we broke boundaries before with this tradition, like what else can we do? And I feel like the BHOF this year really pushed that. And some people feel about it, but I think in the long term, it'll push the whole community into evolving forward, evolving more, looking for more, wanting more. I think it's a really cool move.
It's interesting because I spent a lot of time at ILHC talking to people about the burlesque scene and talking about the progressiveness of the burlesque scene and how the burlesque scene as a whole is miles ahead of our already pretty progressive Lindy Hop scene. Yeah. And so if the Lindy Hop scene is progressive, the burlesque scene is like
way ahead,
way up there. And
you gotta say it. You gotta. What do you call Lindy Hoppers? You gotta say it. It's true though. Everyone agrees with us every time we say it.
There's this thing, and I've experienced it personally, and I know that there's a tendency amongst the Lindy Hop crowd to look down on women who are more
open with their sexuality.
Yeah, being more sexual or open or sensual, or with the type of movement that they have, or the type of routine that they're doing, or getting involved in the burlesque scene. And I've experienced that myself. And so I refer to Lindy Hop, like the overall Lindy Hop scene, as sex positive prudes. Yeah. Because I feel like as progressive as the Lindy Hop scene wants to be, they can learn so much from the burlesque world.
Yeah, totally.
That has been literally fighting for this since the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. Like not only were women fighting for this way back then, but so were BIPOC performers, so were trans performers, so were non-binary performers. And I think those things are just now, starting to become more normalized in the mainstream. And it's pretty amazing when you see the path that the burlesque world has paved for people today. It's pretty great.
It is really cool. And like the reason why I kind of urged you to say it is because I want people to understand that as open as they may be, especially in the Lindy Hoppers, or let's put it this way, let's put more swing dancers. Swing dancers are pretty open and pretty liberal with a lot of things. They really are accepting, but I think there are things when you bring it up, especially in our conversations off microphone, off air, we talk about it, we get into it, and I often defend a lot of the swing dance world, and then you kind of like show this and it's also this other thing. It's like, it's not either or, it's like, there is more steps to be done. Yeah. And I think with this new information that we have, this feeling being a part of two different communities that are so vastly different, but also very similar. Yeah. I think we can learn a lot from each other, and I think we're gonna help be that bridge as we continue in our lives. But definitely one of them is Lindy Hopper swing dancers. Like you just gotta accept that people are sexual in some way, but the cool thing is that you gotta accept it in like a consenting way. If you're not okay with it, you just say not okay with it, and that's it. But if you're okay with it, then it's all good.
I think for me, it's more like try not to look down on people for doing something that maybe you're not comfortable with.
And the next thing. You see that magical
that
cut?
That was a really bad transition.
That was a really great transition.
You could have just been like, and now we're back to blah, 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 blah.
But now we're back is still saying that we went somewhere.
But you could just be like, and now we're,
See, it's not as easy as you thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's better just to say the elephant in the room.
I don't know. I think we could have done it.
We could have done it earlier. Well, we'll have better. We can do it again later if we want, or we can just wait until next month when we forget how to do it and then try it again.
Yeah, that's probably what's going to happen anyway.
The next thing we want to talk about is us teaching at Atomic. You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Do you want me to stop?
No.
Nope.
I was just going to say, let's go back. Hold on. That was all really bad.
Babe, that's okay.
No, it's not good.
It's okay, it can be bad. It's okay, it can be bad.
I don't want it to be bad.
It's
It's
okay.
true, because you listen to your shitty podcast where they're just like yelling at each other the whole time. If they can do that, we can do anything.
Yeah, see, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So now we're going to talk about Atomic.
Yeah.
What's happening at Atomic?
So, well, it's been fun because we get to cover classes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Blake and Grace usually teach on Tuesdays at Atomic. Hopefully you know who they are. They're awesome, but they're being all famous and traveling Europe. So
for the whole month.
When they leave, we like to cover their classes just because we sort of started those classes and on Tuesdays post-pandemic, and they have a special place.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it's fun for us to jump in and teach the weekly classes, and there's a lot of things that we want for the studio and we can't always be there, so us filling in with classes gives us that chance to have the experience that our other teachers are having.
We tell all of our staff, the teachers and the front desk people, all the same thing. You're our eyes and ears. We try our best, absolutely. We have everybody's best intentions in mind, but we need them to tell us what's happening. We need them to interface with the students and the customers, and we know that we want to be there all the time, but because of everything that we do, we can't always make it. But with this right here, it's always the best time because we can jump in, we get to teach with everybody, we get to tell them that you're the owner, that I'm the manager. They get to know that personal experience. Like, imagine how many times you know an owner of a business or a manager of a business somewhere, and how that makes you feel like you have a personal connection with somebody. And through dancing, you always have personal connections because you're physically touching somebody.
I feel like we always come in and we're like, we're the fun, crazy couple, like
we're dressed in pink
in our Nikes. Yeah, no, I feel like I don't know. I feel like there was a lot of years where we were teaching that we were like, I don't know, we were so young and we were so like, we got to do this and this and this is right and this is wrong and blah 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 blah. We've been doing this so long now that we've both gotten to the place where we're like, no, this is fun. If this isn't fun, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
And I think when we approach our classes, we have that mentality. And so I feel like it's like, I don't want to say that our classes are so different from theirs, because I feel like fundamentally we value the same things.
Right.
But I think we come in with just a different era about us and the way that we teach things. And it's really fun. I love it.
It's so much fun. It's so much fun. I think that's like one of the biggest things about teaching, probably in every style, but teaching in swing dancing, especially Lindy Hop, there's such a focus on so many different stylistic choices and improvisational things that you can make happen, plus the idea of how you are dancing compared to this person that you're dancing with now is maybe different from the next person you dance with, and the next song is different, and the next feel. So everything about it is constantly moving, constantly changing. So it's really great for all of our students at Atomic or anywhere really to, if you're used to something, try something different, and you might get something really, really amazing out of it, but you also may just find out that like, I don't like that different. I like what I like, and that's okay too. But at least you tried that, and I think we get the chance to be there, be that funny, crazy couple that comes out here and we're like, is saying F-bombs and this and doing all that and making fun of each other.
Yeah, we crack a lot of jokes.
We do crack a lot of jokes, but like I feel like you said a minute ago, like we started this so young. I was 19 when we started, and you were 21, and we almost immediately started teaching, and it was bad. When I think of those days, I'm like, I mean, it's fine, right? We did our job.
Yeah, we learned on the job.
But it was, we learned on the job. But I think it was like this idea that we had an idea, but we didn't know how to like say it. At least on my part, and I would try my best to describe something I was feeling, describe something I was doing in the dance, and I'd be like, it's like you're red, but you're going. So red doesn't mean stop. And then you would like translate that. You were like, Mikey thinks you should go on count 2.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, that's what I want.
The early days.
Yeah, the early days.
Yeah, I think it's just really fun. Like I really like the way that we approach classes now. We have, we always have a plan. There's a journey that we take the students on, but we kind of trick them into getting there.
I think we were laughing.
But we take them on a journey, and they learn a lot along the way. But then at the end, I feel like there's those light bulb moments that are going off for people, and I feel like it's the way that we're approaching it. And I don't know. It's been. We only did 1 week so far, but it's been so fun.
Every time we do anything like this, where we cover 1 week or multiple weeks or whatever, or we teach in general, we can't help but think of our past and where we've come from and how we got there. One of the things that always gets me about, especially now how we teach, is let me rephrase this. How more willing you are to tell me what you're feeling and thinking about whatever we're teaching and doing, which is totally great.
Compared to like the early days?
Yeah, where you were like, yes, maybe. And
I didn't have opinions.
But also at the same time, I was so like overbearing that I was like, even if you did say something, we're like, nah, no, let's not do that.
Yeah.
Like definitely this one. And I think after the fact, I see how arrogant that was, and I see how like, what's the word? Like hiding how bad I really was. You know? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're doing a thing that I've seen done, I don't know how to do, so I'm not gonna touch that to make myself look bad. So let's do my thing. But I think in the same time, it's like it's really amazing that you were able to understand that from me and be able to translate it in a lot of ways and then tell me what I'm saying, and it's never lost on me how many times where like I regurgitate something that you said of a thing that I felt. You know, it's like you were translating myself back to me. Yeah. You know, and I think it still happens in this way where it's like I have an idea and it's like this and like this, and then you get an idea off of that. So it kind of just it matches to the idea of like bouncing ideas off of one another in the middle of a dance. And we think about this like, you know, a couple minutes before a class, because we have so many like little things that we have. We're like, I'm thinking about this today. Yeah. And then you're like, I'm thinking about this. Sometimes it matches. Yeah. Sometimes it doesn't. Yeah. But then sometimes
we find our way there.
Yeah. But sometimes it just flows really easily together. Where we're like, oh, cool, we can get both of the things.
Yeah. It's really funny. I remember I have this vivid memory of a lot of times, but specifically this one, it was our first time in Korea. It was our first time teaching in Korea.
Can't swing it.
Super early on. Yeah, we were teaching, we were performing, we were doing the whole thing. And it was like one of the first big events that we taught at together, especially out of the country. Yeah. And Mikey had this notebook. Yeah. And we would get together and we would spend all of this time writing down notes for every class that we were going to teach. Like, you're going to say this, and I'm going to say this, and then you're going to focus on this thing, and focus on that thing. And it was like,
what are we going to call this move? Wait, do the move. Wait, what did you do? Let it go. Okay, left hand, right hand. And that's what it would be. That would be the note. Left hand, right hand.
We're going to spend all this time planning these classes because we didn't know what the fuck we were doing.
You bring up the notebooks every time. Yeah. And I'm like, I have them in the fucking garage right now. I can go get them.
You should pull those out. I'd like to see if I can even read them. But it's just so funny because now we're like, we don't even, like, we'll plan classes as we're walking to classes sometimes. Or we'll take 5 minutes in the office and put the class together. And
it always starts out the same way. You walk in and go, so what are we teaching? I'm like, I don't know. You decide.
But I think it's just such a testament to our long history of working together, and I love that. I love walking into a class without a plan and seeing the students and then instantly knowing what to do.
Well, we always have plans on plans, and back in the day, those plans on plans would in a notebook, like you could see it literally, where it would be like 5 topics, and they all kind of flow into one another. But we try our best to flow in one another, or maybe they just like 2 things fit, and then another thing just to take them off on another tangent. But I think now and we tried to get all of those topics in 1 hour class, which was so hard.
Yeah.
But we wanted to pack it full. We wanted to make them feel like they had a lot. We had a lot to say. We wanted to like show off, but also make sure that they can show off. And now we're like with 45-minute classes at Atomic, like you know that you're only gonna get to 2 things, but we know we still have those 3 things. Like we constantly always know. And it's cool because for us, a lot of the times we'll call it audible, which is like the change up, right? So we're starting with one thing and we're seeing them struggle, so we take a little more time. So instead of going that second thing,
we go on a tangent and work on this other technique and then come back to it.
But then we have that second thing that usually did flow into, but like we're like, no, that's not the thing they need right now. We should go to this other thing. And it's always so magic when we do that, because I always feel like we're listening as much as they are, and we're wanting them to succeed by showing them that like the hard thing isn't really that hard. You just have to flip your mind a little bit. Like you have to try it, and it can work.
Yeah.
I fucking love that every time.
I do too.
Yeah.
So it makes it inspiring in the moment. It's me excited to teach. And I'm okay with where we are. Like we're subbing classes. We're not teaching regularly, but we want to be. Yeah. But we're doing so many other things that it's just not possible for us to be there all the time, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We have a lot of, and we were talking about this earlier, and my thought is this: I love that people that I taught in beginning classes are now teaching the classes at Atomic, and to me, I did my job.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I raised up the next generation, who's raising up the next generation, who's raising up the next generation. I don't need to be the one teaching the classes.
Exactly.
And I'm perfectly happy in that situation.
Exactly. I think it's such a great thing because when we were younger, we had a lot to prove, or we felt like we had a lot to prove. We prove it to ourselves. And I think through time, we eventually did prove it to ourselves, and we got to a point where we're like, yeah, we're good. Not to say we left anything or we moved on. It's more like we went to the next, like I said earlier with the idea, like I like to see it like moving on to the next chapter, moving on to the next book. Like what new thing are you going to do? And I think that's always really great because a long time ago when we were just starting out you were starting out a new family, and I wasn't even close to that idea yet. And then the idea was that you want to do the thing, you want to do the traveling teaching thing, and you wanted to go out there, but you want to do it in your terms. And I was always like, play the game, like you gotta do like this and like this, but you're always so adamant, like no, like you gotta do it the way you want to do it, or else it doesn't make any sense. And that was one of the things that like happened to us, and then like later in life we see they're like, oh yeah, and I tell you that all the time. I'm like, oh, you're right. It just takes some time to really see that, but you saw it again. Well, like I said earlier, like true testament to you following your gut and it never failing you.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong. There's a lot of FOMO that goes along with that is too. There's nothing like being super pregnant in the hospital about to have a baby, seeing your partner dancing at ILHC on video, and you're just like, oh, I am not there. But like, it's part of it, right?
Yeah,
so it's you pick your battles as you go, and
pick your battles. Yeah. I mean, like it's priority. Like I feel like FOMO for sure. Everybody can have FOMO. No worries at all, but I think it's like it's like being secure with the choices you're making. Like even before our relationship started, the way it is now, I think I was already on the path of like, okay, dancing and teaching is super fun. Traveling the world is super fun. It's really great. I've done a lot. I feel really good about it. But what else is there? Because this can't be the thing I do forever. Like there's gotta be more. Like what's the next level? In like a corporate world, like there's always like the next level up where you get hired to, or you see where you get what you advanced into. But I think with us, like there is a lot, but we can't really see it because a lot of our generation right now is still making it up, and the past, like the generations coming up behind us, are like following in suit. And at some point, they are jumping off our shoulders and doing the thing that we no longer can do anymore, at least in that capacity. And I think that's really awesome. So we're not necessarily like revolutionaries or trailblazers or anything, but like we're just like you always tell me, we're like making up as we go, but we're also like kind of like leaving markers on the path of like, this is how I got here. Yeah. Good luck everybody else.
Yeah, I mean, things evolve and change, and we talk about this struggle all the time because I love social dancing more than anything else.
And I love training and working on my shit like in the closed atmosphere.
And so it's hard for me to like get into a studio rehearsal if I haven't been social dancing. Like those things go hand in hand for me. And so our work-life balance is trying to figure out how we fit in social dancing and working in a studio.
And going on dates.
That aren't dancing.
Yeah.
Even though
They
that's fine too. But it's figuring that out. And so sometimes it's really difficult when we do show up to the studio and we are going to dance. It's almost impossible for us to dance at the studio because we walk in the door and like, we got to put out this fire and handle this thing. And this person wants to talk and this thing and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's so hard. And then people come up to us like, you're never here. And we're like, I literally wake up every morning thinking about this place. I go to bed thinking about this place. I am working on this place if I'm not physically here always. So it's hard.
It's hard because I feel like a lot of people like wanting, it's like a slight rib, but it's also like a slight like, I'm glad you're here. And it's like a slight this. And I'm like, don't do the slights. Just do like the thing you're meaning. Like, oh my gosh, I haven't seen you forever. How have you been?
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Oh, you want to dance? Like, I haven't seen you this forever.
Yeah.
Like, I think we talked about this the other day. The idea that when people say that to us, it kind of feels like you're being shitty when you say that because you're like, look who's here. Look who's here. It's the owner. And they say it like that. It's really shitty. But I think I like to. I feel like we do this a lot. We counter each other. We're like, you're feeling like this, but here's the other side of that. And it's hard to hear, but we do hear each other when we say that. And we're like, okay, there's a different situation to this. It doesn't mean we're crazy. It doesn't mean we're wrong. It just means that this is how I feel, and it can be this too. We have no idea what they're actually thinking or doing. But if we kind of flip our mindset, then we're able to like really make sense of a situation and have fun for the fun that we want. Because like at the end of the day, business owners, hard workers, like all this shit, like all multifaceted and all the things we do. But like at our core, all we want to do is go to Atomic and dance our ass off for an entire night. That's all we want.
Yeah, if only.
If only. Like, but like that. That's the core of us, right? Right. If there was nothing else in our path, no work to do, no nothing. We walked in there, nobody knew us. That's exactly
what we do. Yeah. And you know, if you've seen us at Joe's, when Joe's existed, that's what we would do. Hide in the corner.
I mean, we can, like, that's all we do. We just hide in the corner and dance.
Oh, you all don't even know. We used to go to Atomic and dance before it was, before I owned it. Mm-hmm. And we'd get in trouble for practicing stuff in the corner. And, you know, there's a part of me that misses those days desperately. And I see people doing it and it like, it's that FOMO. Yeah. Like, oh, I remember that. I wish I was doing that. I want to do that. But then I'm like, okay, I've got 5 million other things that I'm doing right now. Yeah. And I'm okay. Like I find myself in a good place. And it's things like going to ILHC and being on the judges panel that makes me feel like everything that we've done mattered. And
the ups and downs, the feeling of FOMO, the feeling of being there, but feeling like lack there, but feeling like good about yourself and feeling bad about and feeling good about yourself.
But
it all makes sense. You get there and you're like, okay.
But at the end of the day, like sometimes I have to tell myself it's okay. You're not that kid, but that kid is. You've been there. You've done that thing. You're not there. You're here. You can still do that, but you're here now. Like I feel like it's that constant thing, and I don't know. Just being back at Atomic and teaching the classes, I get really excited again.
Yeah, it's really cool because it's the same thing that we've always tried to do. Like we've always tried to like have ideas about like. So-and-so at the so-and-so dance, like they did this thing and it's super weird. Like, if I had a chance, I would do this. You literally have been doing that for years. And now I get a chance to too, because like we're doing it together and we're doing this like DJ thing, which is always really great. We have DJs there every night. It's super great. They're all awesome. They're all great at what they do. But how do you help the next generation when the spot is already filled? Give them space. So what we try to do is we're giving people a chance to DJ when I'm DJing there on Tuesday nights to give them an hour. Like I want newer people that have never tried it before, just like music and just want to play some good swing music to swing dancers, which is like, there's nothing like it when you see a dance floor go, oh, and they all look at a DJ booth like, who is playing this or what song is this?
Yeah.
It's like one of the best things you could do other than like fucking killing a move in a jam circle, you know?
Yeah. I think we need to have a DJ battle, me and you.
You got that from all that?
Yeah.
Like, we must battle!
Like, it just popped in my head. I think it'd be really fun.
Well, we used to before.
Remember?
In
Do you remember the old days?
And hanging out in the DJ booth.
Back when...
I'm like, what are you playing? That's a cool song.
I used to DJ all those years ago. Whatever song I was playing, Mikey would get on the mic and say one line from
that song. What song was that? Yeah.
I don't know.
They call it murder. And they just like, murder. And I would just grab the microphone and she would let me because I'm an idiot kid. And she was like, who is this brown boy?
I'm like, why is this kid hanging out with me in the DJ booth?
Murder. But that was the old days, like TJs and Sunshine.
God, we're old. We're so old.
I know.
We're so old.
But we're still doing the same shit. We're still hanging out in DJ booths and making each other laugh.
Just like this.
This is who we are. We're gonna complete 20 years next year. 20 years of our partnership since 2004 to 2024. What should we do to celebrate?
I don't know.
What do you guys think we should do to celebrate?
You're scaring me.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's stressing me out right now.
You can vote down in the poll below. No, I'm just kidding. There's no poll below. But like we talk about all these things we're doing at Atomic. This whole thing, this whole show, like we said at the beginning, like it's just a way to us talk how we usually talk about with you guys in the room. And
yeah.
This is the stupid shit, the funny shit, the serious shit that we talk about. But we talk about the future too. The idea that like we have like cool things in the works. Like with our last episode, we talked about all those little things. But all those little things were like cool, but there's this really cool thing coming up.
Yes. I'm very excited about this. We're doing an event called Biltmore Ball at the Biltmore, it's called the Millennium Biltmore Hotel now in downtown LA. But this is an amazing historic hotel for Los Angeles history.
For many reasons, but that was the one main reason is it was the last place that Black Dahlia was seen live.
That's one reason.
But that's the main thing.
It's one reason. The Oscars were Oscars sketched there. The Academy Awards were dreamt up there, and the first one was there. There used to be a basement venue at the Biltmore that was. Sorry, I'm going to geek out real quick.
It was called
I love it. It was called the Biltmore Bowl, and it was literally that, like the Hollywood Bowl, but it was underground. It was in the basement of this building. Yeah. Which is amazing if you think about that.
And it was beautiful. So look it up. There's pictures of it. It's everything you imagine from like The Aviator, like watching those old clubs from the 1920s and 30s and everything.
Yeah, like, it's from the 1920s. Real. And we haven't actually gotten a tour of what that space is now. Yeah. So I feel like we'll have to get a tour and get some video if we go in there. But there was a fire, I think, in the 50s, and so they had to
renovate it completely.
Renovating it, and so the bowl doesn't exist anymore, but this opportunity came our way thanks to a couple of friends of ours, and so the Biltmore Ball is partnered with the Gativo Tango Festival that's happening the same weekend at the hotel. That's using the ball. The event has not the event, but the hotel has something like 9,
4, 5, 6. I think that's something like 9 with the bowl and everything.
9 ballrooms, beautiful ballrooms. And
they're
so
huge. Our
friend Dennis and his partner that are producing this event approached us about using some of the spaces at the same time,
because they're not going to use some of the dance floor and classes for the nighttime dance,
which made this thing accessible to us that otherwise just would not be accessible. Yeah. And we'll be having the event in a room called the Gold Room, which is, sorry, I'm geeking out again. I get really excited. The Gold Room was a nightclub in the 1920s, and it even has a speakeasy exit that used to go to the street. It's walled off now, but it also has a staircase to where it used to be a secret bar, and it also, that staircase goes up to a secret lookout spot where the paparazzi used to come in and take photos of the celebrities. And
like note who was making out with who.
Would take photos of the celebrities and the mobsters that were hanging out in the Gold Room. And this hotel just has such an amazing amount of history, and we're just so fortunate to even get one room in this space, and potentially could be more next year.
Could be. Right now it's going to be a one night event, with two bands, Lizzie and the Triggerman, and the Triggerman, and Pinot Noir, which is a French Django style jazz band. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be amazing. We're planning to go basically all night. We don't have to go. We have to leave there until like 5 a.m. basically.
We're going all out.
And we're going all out, and
we're making centerpieces.
And we're gonna make a photo booth, and we're gonna have so much fun because
performances.
we were asking people to come, in your best dress, best everything, because we want to have the vibe in the room what it used to be. We want to bring the ghosts in and make sure they're dancing in with us. Yeah,
don't wear your 90s vibes to this event.
Yeah.
Go vintage for this. I mean, you could do vintage modern, whatever.
The 90s is vintage. Sorry, babe.
You could do like 90s. Yeah, there's some 90s to 30s a little bit.
Yeah. I feel you.
You could do it.
I feel you. I might try it.
I just mean this. If you were gonna go vintage, this is the place
to do it for sure.
So
that'll be happening October
7th. But you can also stay at the hotel, which is amazing too.
Yes, and the rooms do look really pretty for sure. So keep a lookout for that. We'll be advertising a bunch of that stuff. What we haven't done, and I didn't tell you before, but this is usually our last question. So what do you look forward to? I mean, you kind of said it with Biltmore Ball, but like, do you have anything else you look forward to? I do. You want to start?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna start. I am looking forward to our Vegas vacation.
Which one?
With the kids.
Oh.
With the kids. We're taking the kids to Vegas for a family vacation, the four of us, and I've planned pretty much the whole thing. I am the Chevy Chase in the situation.
Yeah, I literally have no idea what we're doing.
It's gonna be so much fun. I like spending time with the kids and learning what they like. I figure I think they'll like this. Like Junie really like video games and all this stuff, so really want to try to give them that. Like we might go to the Avengers thing. Anjali really likes the Meow Wolf and really cool interactive thing, and so we're gonna go there to the Omega Mart. I really want them to have a fancy ass dinner, and I want them to dress up for it and go and really be treated by these hosts and hostess that really know how to treat a person. I just want them to have that experience and have that amazing show and all that good stuff that basically our parents took us to.
Yeah.
I remember my dad taking me to all those places and my mom taking me to all those places, and it's changed my life because I have those memories stuck in me forever.
Yeah. No, it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, me too. It'll be awesome.
Yeah.
I think I'm really looking forward to Biltmore Ball.
Oh yeah.
I feel like the minute we got this opportunity, Mikey was like, kind of whatever.
Well,
we'll go look at it.
Why?
Because he didn't really know anything about it.
I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know the
But I heard Biltmore and I was like, okay, what room at the Biltmore? Because, I already knew what they had. And the minute we walked in the space and walked around the venue, and I was so excited.
Yeah.
So
and the minute we walked into the main hall, where all the offshoots of the rooms are, I was like, oh, it's very vast in here and very cool. And then we saw the pictures. I was like, oh, okay, that's really cool. And then we walked into the ballroom. I was like, oh, we walked into the ballroom that is now. And then we walked in the next one next door, and we were like, we're gonna be in here. And I was like, I want to be in there. Let's go back in there. And we got that room, and I was like, fuck it, I'm in.
Yeah. So it'll be great.
That's gonna be awesome. So thank you everybody for listening. We're so happy to be back again. We're going to be doing this monthly now. I promise this time we won't stick on the third weekend or whatever. We'll just do it when we can.
When we get to it.
But definitely monthly. We love doing this. This is something that we do for ourselves and gives us a chance to just kind of chat about our feelings and our ideas out loud with people. Some people listening, mostly on Jerry Gordon. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
You sound like Tito.
Oh.
We gotta get him on here.
We gotta get Tito Bonito.
Tito.
He's got a teeth and a bone for everybody. Bye.